always, like we always like to say, thank you for your service.
Fausto, my brother, thank you for having me, man. It's always an honor. Yeah, we go way back, brother. We started around the same time, and look at us old folks now, man. Old and crotchety, yelling at kids to get off our lawn. Um, but thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Thanks for the intro. Fausto alluded to Amazon. I'm a huge Amazon trader, folks. That's a separate presentation we can talk about on the side. I call Amazon the Death Star. It's literally this giant space station that's taken over the universe, man. And if it doesn't take something over, it destroys it. So I love Amazon, and Amazon at 200, 205 is a gift. It was what, 245 recently, man? Sell the wife and kids, mortgage the house. I would be buying Amazon with both hands down here. I mean, these, I don't know if this is necessarily a tech wreck, but the Magnificent Seven under pressure here. There hasn't been a time when these names get hammered that they don't recover. Well, this might be the time. Okay, you might be right, but you're most likely wrong. So anyway, but instead of talking about Amazon today, I'm going to talk about something that's going to literally blow your mind. And we are going to talk about our minds today. Wait a minute, man. I came to a 2-day awesome event that Fausto put on at CTU to talk about trading. We're going to talk about trading and investing, but we're going to talk about it in a way that you can save and change lives and profit. Okay. Now, quick question. How many of you woke up today? Well, obviously everybody woke up today because you're sitting here on this brief, but how many of you woke up today and were grateful, right? Gratitude. How many of you woke up today full of gratitude? You have a roof over your head, maybe some loved ones around you. You have the damn internet, folks. You're on an internet right now. So did everybody wake up and show some gratitude? Are you guys not seeing my screen? Thought I am showing it. Entire screen. Are you guys seeing it now? No. It says you are screen sharing. Okay. All right. Bob can see it. Dave can see it. Okay. Awesome. Well, Bob and Dave. Okay, good. Folks are saying they can see my screen. Okay. So gratitude. Seriously. I mean, gratitude is so incredibly important. So I woke up today, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and I got right back into bed. Why? To meditate. Right? 20-minute meditation, gratitude. And then what did I do? I jumped in my car and I went and did a 60-minute hot fusion flow vinyasa. And you're going to learn in our time together that me talking like this, me starting a trade brief like this, 5 years ago, if I heard me starting a brief like this, I would have kicked my own ass. Ladies and gentlemen, that guy died almost 4 years ago, and I'm going to brief you how and why he died. But folks, 90% of trading, and Fausto can back me up on this, is emotional. Oh man, this trade's going against me. But Apple doesn't hate me. I'm going to stay in it because it's going to come back. Folks, Apple doesn't even know you exist, and they'd steamroll your house. So emotion, we have got to take the emotion out of trading. I'm going to help you with that today, but we're going to redirect our trading into an area that's going to blow your mind. My mission objective, I never do anything in life without a mission objective. Why this sector we're about to talk about is set to explode. It is exploding right now, but it's super going to explode. And it might just save the world. How you can profit while also helping to save and change the lives of others and maybe yourself. Real quick, Fausto already told you who I am. Matthew Buckley, y'all can call me Whiz. I'm only Matthew to my mom or my wife if I'm in trouble. Flew the Hornet, graduated from Top Gun, which is the Navy Fighter Weapons School. March 3rd, a couple days ago, was our anniversary. That's our birthday party. Top Gun established 1969 when I was 1 year old. I was an adversary pilot deployed over southern Iraq for Southern Watch, mobilized for Noble Eagle, Enduring Freedom, all that good stuff. What's this have to do with investing? Everything. as Fausto alluded to, trading is a form of combat. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to get their ass kicked. Which one do you want to be? I didn't join the Navy to get rich, folks. You join the Navy to see the world and defend our country from bad guys and girls. But I was always interested in finance, right? You don't join, the military retirement sucks, right? You get out of the military, you still got to go get a job. So I was always interested in finance. And in 1991, now I'm really aging myself, as a 21, 22-year-old ensign at Naval Air Station Key West in Florida, I bought my first mutual fund, right? What was it? 25, 50, maybe 25 or 50 bucks, which was a lot of money to me. The USAA Aggressive Growth Mutual Fund. And then after getting a couple statements, I'm like, what's this? What are these fees? Wait a minute. I'm paying somebody to pick stocks? My girlfriend, who became my bride, keeps Ann Taylor in business, and I pay with my American Express bill. So I started buying stocks on my own. This wasn't hard. But as I became a young fighter pilot, I started applying everything I was learning to my trading, having a strategy, implementing tactics, contingency planning, right? Before even getting airborne, knowing when to get out of a bad situation or a good situation before it got worse. Managing risk. Now, some of you might be sitting here like, okay, this guy's going to speak to me about managing risk. That's a picture of him inverted over Fallon, Nevada, where Top Gun is. Yeah, right, buddy. Folks, options traders, fighter pilots want to minimize and eliminate all known risk, right? So my trading worked incredibly well. I eventually popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility options trading firms headquartered right there. See those big vertical windows? In the Chicago Board of Trade. I helped build a hedge fund when I was there. The retail brokerage Options House I helped build. Some of you might have traded at Options House. Managing director of strategy for multi-billion-dollar vol arb firm. That's me on the floor. And then I built the Options News Network, essentially the CNBC for options, right? John and Pete, I don't know what happened to those guys. They pay lip service on CNBC to options. We were dedicated, man. We shot on the floor of the CBOE and the CBOT, bringing you all behind the scenes look at what was going on in markets. I tell people I was Valentine, right? I was Eddie Murphy in Trading Places, some retail trader off the street going to the big leagues. But I have to be honest with you, folks. There is absolutely no such thing as the smart money or a legendary investor. I wrote a book about it. Does anybody remember the COVID crash, the market crash due to COVID? What were the legendary investors doing on CNBC? Crying. Who was it? Kyle Bass or Bill Ackman, or one of them was like, we need to shut the markets down. We just close the markets for a couple. No. I have incredibly bearish positions. I made 75 grand buying puts at the open the day after Donald Trump tweeted, I'd be a buyer of stocks here. Stocks are looking good. Dow went down 3,000 at the open. I made 75 grand in minutes. It was obscene. So that's when we really destroyed so-called legendary investors and smart money. Do you remember what they said the whole way down? Oh, this is the bottom. I'd be a buyer here. The next day, down. Oh, I mean, this is the super bottom. I'd buy. Enough. We, you, me, are the smart money. I wrote a book about it. And then I also wrote a book From Sea Level to Sea Level, going from the military to, the trading pits. Top rated podcast on the planet. Top 2% of podcasts on the planet, the Max Afterburner podcast. What do we talk about? This. So, folks, I'm the founder and the chairman of the No Fallen Heroes Foundation. We are a 501c3 dedicated to trying to minimize or eliminate veteran suicide. Okay? How do we do this? You ready? Psychedelic assisted therapy. Why? How did you start the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, Whiz? Why? What does this have to do with investing and trading? Well, let me tell you just a quick little story. Irish Catholic kid from South Jersey, South Philadelphia, 6 kids. That's my sister Monica on the left. We made the Pope look Jewish. You didn't get any more Catholic than us. I was an altar boy, Mass on Sunday, coat and tie, all that type of stuff. Unfortunately, I was sexually abused as a child. And then at the age of 19, my beautiful sister Monica was killed by a drunk driver when she was a freshman at Villanova University outside Philadelphia. It was a hand grenade to my life and to my family. It was just an absolute horror. It was extremely tough, folks. Wanted to fly fighter jets, wanted to be a naval aviator. Fausto and I saw Top Gun in 1986. I had already wanted to do it before that, and that just sealed the deal. But in 15 years of flying fighter jets for this country, I lost 16 brothers. Not a single combat loss. Bad weather, bad decisions, mechanical issues, you name it. Not a single combat loss. Along the way, I've lost 4 F-18 brothers to suicide, including my best friend right there. That's my wedding day. He was a groomsman in my wedding. Captain Eric Swenson. Beautiful bride, 5 kids, put a bullet in his head one day. So 4 years ago, with the COVID crash, I said, I need to do something about this. But after all of that stuff, I'll be honest with you, transitioning from the military to the civilian world sucked. I went from a fighter squadron where you trust the men and women in that organization with your life, or they're simply not a part of that organization. And I went to a Wall Street firm. I couldn't trust somebody to watch my wallet for 5 minutes when I went to the bathroom. I was lost. My mission, I had a mission in the military. I had support. I had friends. I had everything. In a Wall Street firm, man, there were people who would push their own mother in front of a bus for $1. I had dark nights of the soul. A lot of drug culture on Wall Street, folks. Found my way into that. Alcohol, drugs, depression, very, very, very dark place. So in 2020, when we made $2.5 million. $2.5 million in 2 weeks during the COVID crash. Okay. And then my brother Swede checked out. I looked it up. Back then, the government numbers said 22 veterans are taking their lives every day. And I looked at my beautiful bride, Susie, and I said, we have got to do something about this. But what do you do? How do you keep a veteran from killing themselves? Help them pay the rent, buy a suit, help them write a resume. I was clueless. And that's when God intervened. And one of my buddies said, hey, man, there's a group of Navy SEAL veterans and Special Forces guys that go down to Mexico and they do psychedelic assisted therapy. And there's a really cool group going in a couple weeks. Would you like to go? And I said, man, go to Mexico and do drugs with Navy SEALs? It sounds like a great weekend. Sign me up. I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen and how my life would change. Flew into San Diego. Why? Because if you do what I'm about to tell you, in San Diego, you're a felon. You're a criminal. If you get in a car with a bunch of other veterans in a little convoy and you go an hour south, it'll save and change your life. So, how many of you have seen the movie Lone Survivor or read the book? Right? Marcus Luttrell. So me, Marcus Luttrell's right. That's me. There's Marcus Luttrell. There's one of his Navy SEAL teammates right there. If any of you drink Black Rifle coffee, that's one of the founders of Black Rifle Coffee, Jared Taylor. And then if you're a college football or an NFL fan, over here on the right is Robert Gallery. You see his Hawkeye shirt? He was an All-American at Iowa, right? And Went into the NFL, and I think he played for the Raiders. He recently got into the College Football Hall of Fame. So I'm not, I could spend 8 hours telling you about my experience and everything like that. I have a podcast. Write this down. Max Afterburner Podcast, episode 7. You can get the entire brief about this. But I'm going to tell you briefly about my experience, and then we're going to get into how we can potentially profit off this. Saving and changing lives and making money. That's the win-win, folks. Briefly, my dad, after Monica died, I couldn't remember the last time I saw him smile, and he dropped dead of a heart attack. My brother and my sisters and my mom convinced he died of a broken heart. He was never the same after Monica died. On the medicine, and it is medicine, folks, it ain't a drug. Plants that God put on this planet for us to heal are not drugs. Drugs are made in a lab. Drugs are made for profit. Drugs do not heal. There is no money in healing, is there, folks? Pfizer, Moderna, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, they want you hooked. But anyway, I sat with a medicine, and you can write this down and Google it on your own, called Ibogaine. Ibogaine. It comes from the Iboga root from Gabon, Africa. Iboga. On this experience, I was reunited with my sister, and she was perfect. She was angelic, and I could not, I've never experienced so much happiness. My father was with my sister, and he was smiling. Like I told you, I can't remember seeing him smile. And it was peace. It was a peace I haven't felt in decades. And then they started to leave, and it was a horror. I called out, I yelled out for them not to leave me again. And they came back, and they looked at me, and they started to kind of leave again. And then I followed them this time. They went into the trees. They went into my daughter. They went into me. They never left. They are here right now on this brief. And I was healed. I'll save you the rest of my debrief, but let me just say this. I was a drinker. I don't know if you can be a good drinker. I was a bad drinker. Rick, absolutely. Rick, this healing is for everybody, and I'll get to that. I could not look or smell. I couldn't look at a bottle of alcohol, and if I smelled alcohol for up to a year after this treatment, it made me violently ill. I got sick. Years later, I can have a glass of wine with my ribeye or some pasta. But old Whiz, a glass of wine was 2 to 3 bottles. These 4 other guys haven't touched a single drop of booze in 4 years. Marcus Luttrell, ladies and gentlemen, was on 15 medications. Whiz, 5. I take 5 medications to wake up, 5 for lunch, 5 to go to bed. Marcus Luttrell hasn't taken a single medication in 4 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Gallery. You should Google his name, Robert Gallery, with Marcus Luttrell. They just did a podcast together. It made me cry, seeing my original Medicine Brothers. You don't know, they don't know you have CTE until you die. They open up your skull and go, okay, yeah, Robert's like, I have CTE. Before the medicine, he was suicidal. He was alcoholic. He was snapping at his wife and his kids. You should see him today. I literally bumped into him 2 years ago at a fundraiser. I thought I was getting into a fight. This massive mountain was going to beat it. I'm like, why'd this guy just shove me? And I look up and it's him. I didn't even recognize the man. Now, he looks rough there because that's the day after the medicine. He is a different human being. He has started his own foundation to get NFL players this treatment. Okay. So when I got home from this, I said, this is the way. This is how we're going to end veteran suicide, period. No Fallen Heroes Foundation gives healing grants to veterans, first responders, and their family members, folks. Why first responders? Well, guess what? Some folks get out of the military and they take off that uniform, but they don't take off the trauma. They go home, they become a cop, a first responder, a paramedic, a firefighter, and that trauma is even worse. I talked to a 20-year Marine friend of mine who became a first responder down in Miami. He's like, Whiz, my Marine trauma is a joke compared to being a first responder in Miami. What people can do to children, awful. How about family members? Gold star moms, wives, husbands, fathers, family members. My wife, God bless my wife, put up with me through some absolute horrors. 3 months after I got home from doing the medicine, Susie went down to Mexico. It's called the Mission Within, and she sat with the medicine. We've never been a better couple, parents, or human beings. So, VCs, venture capitalists, and Wall Street waking up, folks. Everybody's, if you're an investor, if you haven't watched Billions, you need to give me 50 push-ups. There's a whole episode on Billions of acts, doing ayahuasca and, with a shaman and all sorts of stuff like that. Stevie Cohen, who Axe Capital and Billions is based off of, is huge into psychedelics. We're going to talk about this stock, Cybin, in a couple minutes here. Blake Mycoskie from Tom's Shoes or whatever, 100 million to psychedelic research. Ladies and gentlemen, it is here. Now, if you want a quick, it's 4 hours, folks. It's 4 1-hour episodes on Netflix. You can do it tonight. To get up to speed on this, watch How to Change Your Mind. 4 episodes. Matter of fact, yesterday, Oprah just dropped a podcast with Michael Pollan. Author Michael Pollan wrote this book, How to Change Your Mind. The book is clearly better than the Netflix series, but if you're sitting here like, I can't believe I'm in a trade brief talking about psychedelics, this will get you up to speed. And one more time, I'm going to remind you, 5 years ago, Whiz, I'd kick my ass. Dude, you're on a trade brief and you're talking about psychedelics. What happened to you? That guy died on a mattress on the floor of a home in Mexico overlooking the Pacific. I am grateful for my suffering. I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me in my life because it has brought me to this moment. To date, the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, I think we're close to 100. In the past 3.5-ish years, close to 100 veterans, first responders, and family members have healed. You ready for this? Not a single one of these people has left a retreat and said, complete waste of time, I'm worse. What was that? Not a single one. I'm leaving Friday for Oklahoma. I'm doing a retreat up in Oklahoma. 3 weeks ago, I was out in Oregon doing a retreat. I try and go on every retreat, but if I can't make it, every retreat that I haven't been able to make it to, my phone rings with text messages. And I'll paraphrase most of them. Thank you, Whiz. I don't want to kill myself anymore. Could you imagine getting a text like that, folks? Wow. So, what's this have to do with investing? Everything. Here we go. I'm going to warn you, folks, the stocks and the things we're going to talk about right now. This is the internet 1999, right? This is, there's a Netscape and a pets.com and an Amazon and a Google. You buy the wrong two, you're broke. You buy the right two, you're rich. Just let's be clear. The companies I'm going to tell you are burning through cash. Phase 1 trial, phase 2 trial, phase 3 trial, blah, blah, blah. That ain't cheap. But some of the things I'm about to share with you will blow your mind. MindMed, a stock we're going to look at, has MM120. 70 to 80% of people with GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, there's 40 million Americans who suffer from GAD. They're hooked on pharma crap. 70 to, let's just say 75. I think that's the actual number. 75% after a single dose of MM120 75% of these people are clinically healed. Did you hear what I just said? Healed. Why am I rambling about this? Because does anybody in this room think that Pfizer, Moderna, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson is going to let this, if you're sitting in the headquarters of Pfizer's right now, smoking your cigar, reading the Wall Street Journal, counting your money, if you see companies doing this, what are they going to do? And I'm torn telling you this, folks, because I'm going to show you this stuff, and I want that to happen. Breaking news, MindMed has been acquired by Moderna. The stock is up 5,000%. I want that to happen. And then you ready for this? I don't want that to happen. Some of these companies might buy this stuff and do what with it? Put it on the shelf. We're not gonna let some little psychedelic company cure people. Here's my size 12 checkbook, and we own all of it. I guarantee you it's going to happen. That's exactly right, Rick. So let's talk. Folks, I'm not a crypto guy. I got to be honest with you. I love it. Knock yourself out. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, whatever. I'd invest in the infrastructure, the chips, the power, the technology. I don't buy the coins, baby. I buy the foundation of it. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to show you some foundation plays. Okay. So we're going to talk about psychedelic stocks, the foundations underneath them, and then I just alluded to it, big pharma. There's no way. And, for those of you like, well, maybe the MindMed CEO won't sell his company. They can't not. Everybody knows this big SAT word, right? Fiduciary. The CEO of a publicly traded company has a fiduciary duty to his shareholders. If Moderna jumps in with a check and says, this is ours, it's got its soul, right? So, Psychedelic Science 2023. Year and a half ago, I went to Denver with 15,000 other great Americans. You know who was there? Rick Perry. Rick Perry stole this is my line. You've heard it twice in this webinar so far. Rick Perry's on stage for the opening keynote. 8,000 people in this center. Everybody else is watching on TVs. Man, when I ran for president years ago or governor of Texas for 2 terms, if I heard me on stage advocate for psychedelics, I'd kick my own ass. All my buddies looked at me and laughed like, dude, I'm like, yeah, that's my line. Anyway, Republicans were there. Democrats were there. Fighter pilots were there. Navy SEALs, hippies, doctors, all aligned to the same mission objective. The second night, I got up in front of 3,000 people at the Veteran and First Responder Dinner. You can see a clip on my Instagram, man. And it was one of the most incredible moments of my life. I didn't have a prepared speech. I just went up on stage, man, and it flowed. And it was so cool. But ladies and gentlemen, you have the opportunity to be on the leading edge of this. Okay? It's already kind of moving a little bit, but you're not too late. Let's do that. Okay? Let me resume my sharing. Everybody can see my screen, right? The psychedelic renaissance and veterans leading the charge. Now, I love hippies, folks. I love my hippies, brothers and sisters and all that stuff. The first psychedelic revolution was what? Anti-Vietnam, Nixon. Go kill the yellow man on the other side of the planet. No, I don't want to do that. I love the yellow man. Why? Well, I took these mushrooms and I love everybody. Well, okay, now those mushrooms are illegal. Here's your rifle. Go kill people. Do you remember this? So the late 60s, early 70s was the government tarred these medicines. Schedule 1. Does anybody know the definition of a Schedule 1 drug? You ready for this? It means no therapeutic value and a high risk of addiction. What did I just define? Cigarettes and alcohol. Cigarettes and alcohol are highly addictive and they will kill you. Psychedelics are anti-addictive. They break addiction. And it was the most therapeutic experience of my 56 years on this planet. But of course, the government labels things the exact opposite of what they are, doesn't it? Oh, well, those are Schedule 1 and alcohol and booze are completely legal. This was in the Wall Street Journal a couple days ago on Top Gun Day, March 3rd. Meet the Cali sober. No booze, but drugs are fine. Now, obviously, I have a problem with the Wall Street Journal use of the word drugs. Mushrooms God put on this planet are not drugs, neither is LSD. LSD is from grain. It's ergot. Ketamine, okay, you can call it a drug, right? It's made in a lab, profit, all sorts of stuff. But let me, before I forget, we look at these names and stuff like that, let me remind you, healing is free. Whether it's mushrooms, LSD, ibogaine, ayahuasca, mescaline, right? San Pedro from northern Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona area. That's all free. But you know what Pfizer's going to do. All right, well, Whiz got his ass kicked for 12 to 14 hours on a mattress. Let's change a molecule and call it ibogaine and charge 20 grand for it. I don't want that to happen. That's most likely what's going to happen. Okay. All right. So, and let me share this with you before I forget, in case I get too busy and forget about this. This is worth its weight in gold. There's my chat right here to everyone. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what you need. This is your radar scope. You can click on it. It blows up. I'm going to zoom in here. This is a bullseye. Things that are closer to the bullseye are close to FDA approval. Things further out on the bullseye aren't. Look at the medicines. 5-MeO-DMT. I have not enough time today to brief you on my 5-MeO-DMT experience. You got to watch my, or listen to my Max Afterburner podcast, episode 7. I flipped in the bed. I'm not joking. At my age, flipping in a bed is not something, I don't remember doing it, but the people holding space, I flipped. Well, I went into the medicine facing the Pacific. I came out of the medicine facing the wall. I'll leave it at that. Ibogaine, that's what I did. Psilocybin is magic mushrooms. MDMA, people know as ecstasy, LSD, DMT, blah, 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 blah. Folks, this is worth its weight in gold, okay? Absolutely. Take a look at that. And let me give you this real quick because it was, let me share this with you. In case you don't want to listen to me, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a big Oprah fan, but some people listen. It's Oprah. This was released yesterday with right here. Can psychedelics heal mental trauma? Yeah, they can. let me save you it's an hour podcast, folks. Let me give that to you as well. So there are a ton of resources available out there for psychedelics. Let me get a shameless plug here. No, following. Our page here has a ton of incredible content. Every medicine retreat we do, once we come home, I debrief the folks. Army vet, journey with psychedelic medicine, ayahuasca versus ibogaine. Let me give you the link to this because if you really, really, really want to get up to speed on these medicines, this one down here, this guy's an Atlanta cop, 30-year Atlanta cop and Westchester cop. This is an Army Special Forces veteran. This was a Navy pilot, senior chief. That's my wife. That's a veteran's daughter that we helped here. Dr. Matthew Johnson from Johns Hopkins I've had on. So let me... Kyle Quincy, NFL great, who runs the Do Good Ranch. So this is great content for you to get up to speed with these medicines. Okay, let me just give you some good intel because I like sharing intel. And then the final thing I want to give you is this: veterans. Even though you might not be a veteran, this is worth reading. It's called A Guide to Psychedelic Medicine for Veterans, but it's for anybody. Okay. It goes through what each medicine is, all sorts of stuff. This is also worth its weight in gold. Okay. Let me get back. Let me give you this link. Let me get back to psychedelic science real quick, because it was so cool being in a room with tens, close to 15,000 people all aligned to the same mission. This second psychedelic revolution, we were just talking about Vietnam and stuff like that. That sucked. Richard Nixon needed young bodies, young men to go kill people. Awful. This psychedelic revolution is being led by veterans, first responders, and their family members, and athletes. I don't know if we got any hockey fans in here, but Daniel Carcillo, two-time Stanley Cup champ from the Chicago Blackhawks, 7 concussions, was going to kill himself, healed with the medicine. He's now on the board of my foundation. Daniel Carcillo and I are best friends. He's helping athletes. So I don't think I'm special. Most athletes don't think we're special. But if mom and pop, average American, says, holy crap, there's Marcus Luttrell, Navy SEAL, Whiz, Top Gun graduate, and veterans are using these medicines, maybe I'll give them a little bit of leash here. Let me share something as we get ready to look at some of these names. I've been to DC a couple times. And I'll never forget the one time where behind closed doors, it doesn't matter who it was, a veteran, or not a veteran, a Republican congressman said, Whiz, I love what you're doing, but you're going to have a problem with the big pharma and the alcohol and tobacco folks. Can you believe that? I'm sure you guys probably can, but can you believe that? It made me physically, I had to leave and go take a shower, man. I can't stand that. What do you mean I'm going to have a problem with big pharma and the alcohol and tobacco folks? Isn't that your job? This is a we the people moment. Okay? This isn't going to come from them down. It's going to come from us up. Okay? So let's get to trading. I'm going to ripple through some of these names, and then we're going to talk about them. MindMed, $6 stock. Now, my rule of, I run TOPGUN Options, right? Hence, I'm an options trader. I tend to not trade options on stocks under 10 bucks. Why? Well, that's the option. The cost of the stock is the option. But MindMed, MNMD, it's a $6 stock. I would buy with both hands. Look at where they popped. The election of Donald Trump and the confirmation of RFK. Okay? Now, RFK, folks, love him or hate him, I don't care. I just care about his view on healing. On my Instagram page here is a video. I'll just give you the cliff note, but this video of RFK right here talking about psychedelics. I'm going to give this to you. Watch it after this brief. Why? I'll give you the cliff notes. It's better for you to see it because it's just more emotional. He was asked a question. Hey, what do you think about psychedelics? And RFK said, well, I'm a recovering heroin addict and an alcoholic. So I could not have been more against psychedelics. You're trading in one bad thing for another, I thought. Then my beautiful bride took her own life in 2012. And after that, one of my sons was done. I was convinced he was next. He just could not handle the loss of his mother. A friend of his took him to Peru. And when I saw him, when he got home, as soon as I saw him, I knew I got my son back. So this guy went from being the most anti-psychedelics to the most, he's not the most pro, I am. But folks, and I don't care what you think about the current administration, J.D. Vance was on the Joe Rogan podcast. To his credit, Joe Rogan had to give the future vice president a brief on psychedelics for veterans. And J.D. Vance said, I didn't know about this. Why aren't we doing this? And finally, Pete Hegseth, current SecDef, Secretary of Defense, was on the Sean Ryan podcast. Right? And he said, and Sean Ryan went to the same place in Mexico.
And you'll see
he
what
said,
happens.
"Hey, I'm healed.
All right.
These medicines should be
Let me go.
legal."
I got to finish.
And
I
the
got to jump into my
secretary
class.
said, "Absolutely." Okay. So you watch these when you get a chance. Let's get back to MindMed real quick, because I want to keep us on time too. All right, MNMD, MindMed. Let me show you. Don't listen to me. Where's the Oppenheimer report? Right here. Oppenheimer, 12-month price. When this report came out, the stock was $4.92. They have a $25 price target. I told you about MM120. 12 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute insanity. And you could, I don't know if I can upload. Maybe you can always email me. I can send you stuff like this if I can't upload it. But there's a lot of booger eater stuff in here about the medicines and the price and everything like that. So MindMed is the first name that I would buy with both hands, period. Okay. You can look at the options. You can go out to Jan 27, right? As far out into the future as you can and buy some 20 calls. They're pretty cheap right now, man. Buy 10 of the January of 2027, 20 calls. Put them in your filing cabinet and forget about them. You wake up and you see on CNBC breaking news, Pfizer buys MindMed, these things will be priceless, okay? Or you could do a tactic that we call a cash secured put. You could sell some puts underneath this name, bring in $2,000, right? So there are a bunch of different tactics to employ. But again, I just buy these shares that are under 10 bucks. So MindMed, I would buy the shares, or you could do the options, or you ready for this? You do both. You buy the shares and then you sell upside calls against that position, right? That is a tactic called a covered call, since you own the shares. All right, for the sake of time, I'm going to rip a tie. A tie is another name that I would buy with both hands. Okay. ATAI, election of Donald Trump, RFK, and it filled that gap. Buy it. I added a ton down here. It's $1.50, folks. Buy 1,000 shares. It's a night out, in Miami or something like that. And then Cybin. This is the one that Stevie Cohen really, really, really likes. $7, $8 stock, folks. Again, you can do the options. Go all the way out to all of this year. There's a lot of, look at this. There's a 427 at the 20 strike, folks. It's a $8 stock. And look how cheap these are. Here's your lottery ticket. Buy 10 of the August 25th 20 calls. $150, folks. That's a no-brainer. Okay? Or do what I just said with the other names. Buy the shares and sell upside calls against it with a covered call. All right. Now, if you don't like trying to pick a winner, do SIL, short for psilocybin. This is the Advisor Shares ETF. Look at that. There's the election. Psychedelic ETF. Yeah, there is, man. There's an ETF for everything. SIL Holdings. Let's go take a look real quick at what's in SIL. Okay. Right here. Because I guarantee you, it's got a bunch of names. Look at that. Their top holding. Where'd you go? Holdings. MindMed. Atai. Cybin. And you got a bunch of other names in the psychedelic space. So, Whiz, I suck at picking winners. Good. Buy the ETF. SIL. It's a $12 ETF, folks. And obviously, as I said with everything else, you can do the options. Okay. Now, those are like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Musk coin or whatever. See, I don't even know what coins are. What about the infrastructure? Ladies and gentlemen, when, not if, these medicines are legal for therapeutic use, you have to do them somewhere. You're not going to your general practitioner's office and sitting on wax paper on an examining room table with a National Geographic from 1988 on the table. You can't. So there has to be spaces for you to do this stuff, okay? What am I talking about? I'm talking about infrastructure, folks. full disclosure, I'm in something called Healing Realty Trust, real estate for tomorrow's medicine. We are buying up properties, current medical. I live right near the Boca Raton Hospital, God's waiting room. And we are acquiring a ton of medical office building, and we're repurposing them. Folks, you cannot do MDMA in your doctor's office. MDMA, there needs to be a couch and a bed and 2 chairs in there for the people holding space. It needs to be videoed. There needs to be a bathroom. The infrastructure does not exist. So we are building it. Okay. Now, check this out. People are copying us. Who? Since the REIT that I'm in is private, we might go public in a couple years, but I can't stand shareholders, so I'd prefer to stay private. Sabra Healthcare REIT. They are doing what we're doing. Why am I telling you about this name? How many of you have seen a stock with, look down here, a 7% dividend? Folks, I would buy shares of Sabra, sell calls against it as a covered call, and enjoy my 7% dividend. Folks, that's a no-brainer. There are not too many stocks out there with a 7% dividend. And this is a bet, a play on the psychedelic space exploding. Okay? Take a look at this name. This name literally copied us. AHR, American Healthcare REIT. This IPO'd, I loved watching this IPO. It IPO'd last February. This is the 1-year performance. 123% return in AHR since it's gone public. So maybe I'll let you guys know. If you join TOPGUN Options, you get access. So we have 23 TOPGUN Options members are invested in the REIT. The REIT's closed because you have to be an institutional investor, and the minimum investment now is $25 million. But I got 23 TGO members into the REIT before we exploded. Right, so you get good deals at TGO. We launched a microdosing company. Well, we can talk about that offline. What I'm saying is TGO members get access to the good stuff that's going on. But AHR, I love it. So if you are interested in this space, but Whiz, I'm not going to gamble on picking a couple psychedelic names. Okay, look at the infrastructure, folks. Okay, so AHR and Sabra. And I think AHR, it's only been a year. Look at this. That's got a dividend too. 3% dividend for AHR. So I just showed you 2 names with serious growth potential and solid dividends. And then we just rippled through. I own all these names, folks, by the way. I got my chips out across the table. Atai is a great name. Okay. Atai, it's $1.50, folks. It was just $2.50 a couple weeks ago. It sold off, but it's back to it's moving down the bullseye here with ibogaine. Okay, but this wheel right here, folks, is worth its weight in gold. It also has private companies on here too, so these aren't just publicly traded names. These are also private companies too. Compass, I didn't cover that one, folks, but I should have. What time is it? All right. CMPS. Compass Pathways. I don't dig. I wouldn't buy this one. Never mind. I just don't like what they're doing, and the stock's reflecting it. I'll leave it at that. But I just saw it on the bullseye, and I'm like, you know what? I forgot to cover Compass, so I would not buy Compass. Okay. So this, hopefully I blew some of you away. Like I didn't expect to be coming to a psychedelic brief for this guy telling me his life story. I can't not tell you my story. I call this the world's greatest Ponzi scheme. What do I mean by that? Whenever Fausto said he saw me on TV a lot. I've been on TV because all of these airline mishaps and military crashes, sadly. But when you get on an airliner, what do the flight attendants tell you as part of the brief? If we lose pressurization in the cabin and the mask drops, Put the mask on yourself first. You're not good to anybody else if you're out, right? You can't help it. So why am I bringing that up? Because this is the world's best Ponzi scheme. Just about every veteran first responder family member I've taken on a retreat gets home and says, oh my God, I got to tell people about this. I have to. There are so many. We helped a 30-year cop up in Oregon at the last retreat. He said, Whiz, I have 4 law enforcement brothers and sisters who are in really bad places, and I've got to get them this help. It's a Ponzi scheme, but it's the only Ponzi scheme that is incredible. You heal, you come home, and you want to help people out. Real quick, though, has there been challenges? Yeah, man. It's work. We've had people come. It's when you get home, imagine having a clean piece of paper. God, whatever I choose to use the word God, but whatever word you want to use, source, creator, divine, universe, truth, Steve, I don't call it Steve. After this retreat, Steve gives you a clean piece of paper. Scrub the nooks and crannies out of your brain, your soul, and you just feel good. If you come home and go back to your old stuff, then you are going to have a problem. Okay. So we call it integration. So have there been challenges during integration? Yeah. That's why we call it work. When you get home, you have got to put in the work. But if you put in the work, great things will happen. All right. I went too long, but I want to keep my brother Fausto on his flight schedule. We trade our psychedelic names in what is called our AR, Accelerated Retirement Portfolio. Okay. It's $96 a month, folks, and it doesn't magically go up next month to $1 trillion. Who does that? It's $96 a month for the rest of your life. But that's kind of dumb because we have an annual membership. If you do the annual membership for $960, you get like 2 months free. So mathematically, it makes sense to do the annual. But other than 52 minutes, I need to see this guy for a month to make sure he's not a complete idiot. Great. Do the $96 a month. Or if you're like, okay, I love what this guy's talking about, it's $960 a year. I'm going to give you some manuals. You're going to get access to what we call our, Fausto talked about earlier, our options weapons school. About 6 or 7 1-hour to 1.5 hour options training classes with me. Whiz, I don't even know how to spell the word options. Well, you're like my Marine buddies. I will start with day 1. This is the market. This is a stock. This is a put. And by lesson 7, you're trading iron condors, calendar spreads. We take a building block approach, just like going to Pensacola Naval Air Station. I was in class with a guy who'd never even seen an airplane before. He flew from the University of Montana to Pensacola on an airliner for the first time. And 6 months later, he was a steely-eyed fighter pilot, right? Building block approach. I'm not going to airdrop you into the market Afghanistan with a rifle and say good luck. $96 a month, folks. I used to say before the medicine, that's a cheap bottle of wine. Since I really don't drink anymore, well, I guess I could say that. $96 a month is a cheap bottle of wine, at least down here in South Florida. Okay. So saving lives, changing lives, and potentially making money. Ladies and gentlemen, that literally is the definition of a win-win-win. Okay. Scott, I'm going to read that. Scott, this is an unsolicited endorsement. I've been through Wiz's training for a long time. I am a follower. I've been in and out with him through my own medical issues such as cancer. I remember this, Scott. There's no better straight shooter in the space of trading options. So happy to listen in here, Wiz. Thank you, my brother, and thank you for all of that. That really makes my heart smile, Scott. God bless you and your family. So, folks, Fausto, my brother, thanks for having me. I had solo Amazon on the brain, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change it up. I mean, Amazon's a gift here at 205. But this sector with RFK and Vance and Hegseth and Trump, don't get me wrong, man, they can all fail. They could be lying to me about psychedelics and whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to still keep doing this mission. And when you see stuff like this in the Wall Street Journal, a year ago, the Wall Street Journal had an article that's like, It's the new glass of wine. Corporate female CEOs are microdosing and Elon Musk. This is all the rage, but it's not a fad, right? People healing is not a fad. This isn't the next big thing. It is the thing. So saving and changing lives and potentially making money. It's $96 a month. Give us a shot. If you, after a month, you think I'm a complete idiot, which is a distinct possibility, just go on your way. But you will have, I guarantee you, you will have learned a lot with me for at least a month. Okay. Fausto, my brother, thank you for having me. I'm probably going to hang out because I love listening to the rest of these presentations, man. I love Silas and all the folks here. I was listening to Silas beforehand. A lot of smart people. So good job putting this event on, my brother. And thanks for having me. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, Wiz, thanks for coming. And yeah, like I said, yeah, I was listening to you. Psychedelics was on TV. I saw you on Fox Business, and yeah, I know you had all that, everything with all these planes coming down, crashing, and it was unbelievable. Also, I'm seeing, and then here you come on Fox Business talking about it. It was just awesome. And let everybody know that this really what all of us have to do. We have second businesses. Like he's a fighter pilot. You could definitely follow him. I love him on his Instagram. He's got some great videos of him on his fighter pilot. I'm still waiting for him to invite me on, but look at
bro. Next time you're in Florida, you gotta come.
Yeah, no, I definitely. He was just to come and touch the thing. The thing is just awesome. But
hey, wait, real quick. Let me show this video. Everybody, watch this real quick. This might be Fausto. We're getting ready to pull about 5 Gs. Watch this guy's head. You ready?
Oh, I think I saw that.
2, 1. Good night, Irene.
I think I saw that video.
He's out. Yeah, he passed out and he woke up inverted over the Everglades. So yeah,
I'll he said like I just died and came back to heaven or some crap. He said something like that. I remember that one. That was awesome.
Talk about a psychedelic trip right there.
That was awesome. Well, thanks for your service and thanks for everything you're doing for our country and everything. And look for, oh yeah, that's the video right there. I remember that one. Who was that guy anyway?
He's just a party guy down in Miami. He runs a company called My Hammy or Hi Hammy or whatever. Some guy. If you donate to the foundation, we throw you in the back seat. So yeah, you got to listen to that guy's video, man. It'll crack you up.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, so thanks for coming here. And listen, we're gonna just really quick. We're just gonna go hop over really quick and see what's going on in the market a little bit, and just show everybody what's got going on. And hold on one second. Let me just share the screen.